Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today because we have some very exciting General Hospital news to talk about, and it's definitely worth the wait. Nina stood in one of the darkest moments of her life, with the terrible understanding that Willow was no longer simply hurt, confused, or making reckless mistakes. What Nina now saw was far more frightening. She saw a woman consumed by rage, fear, and deep emotional instability. For a mother, there may be no greater pain than realizing her own daughter has crossed into a place so dangerous that love alone may not be enough to pull her back. Nina had already carried years of guilt, regret, and helplessness where her children were concerned, but this new truth about Willow opened a fresh wound. It forced Nina to face the horrifying possibility that Willow was not just spiraling, but becoming someone capable of calculated cruelty. That realization did not just break Nina's heart. It also filled her with urgency, because for the first time, she could clearly see that Willow might need to be stopped before she destroyed even more lives, including her own. The full weight of Willow's actions made the situation even more unbearable. Nina now understood that Willow had gone far beyond emotional outbursts or bitter family conflict. She had allegedly targeted little Daisy as part of a cruel plan meant to frighten Sasha and punish Michael. That alone painted a chilling picture of how far Willow's anger had spread. It was no longer focused only on the people she believed had hurt her. It had widened into something reckless and merciless, something willing to involve an innocent child. For Nina, that had to be one of the clearest signs that Willow's state of mind was becoming more and more dangerous. A woman who once seemed gentle and devoted had now become someone driven by obsession and vengeance, and Nina could no longer ignore how deeply disturbed her daughter had become. What made the truth even more devastating was the growing evidence surrounding Drew. Nina now knew that Willow had shot Drew and somehow avoided paying for it. That knowledge alone was shocking, but the horror did not end there. Willow also allegedly gave Drew a paralyzing drug in order to create the appearance of a stroke, turning a violent act into a carefully staged deception. This was not chaos in the heat of the moment. This suggested planning, control, and a disturbing willingness to manipulate life and death. Nina had to face the fact that Willow was capable of not only causing harm, but also hiding it behind a false medical crisis. That made Willow seem even more frightening because it meant her instability was not loud and obvious all the time. Sometimes it was calm, deliberate, and hidden behind a mask. And yet the cruelest twist may have been what Willow did to Nina herself. By tricking Nina into injecting Drew and then keeping the syringe with Nina's fingerprints on it, Willow created a trap that could destroy her own mother. It was an act of breathtaking betrayal. Nina was not just grieving what Willow had become. She was also being cornered by her. Willow had turned a mother's instinct to help into a weapon. She had made Nina vulnerable to criminal suspicion while protecting herself. That kind of manipulation revealed how deeply Willow had fallen into moral darkness. Nina now had to process not only fear for Willow's mental state, but also the crushing pain of knowing her own daughter was willing to sacrifice her to stay free. It was the kind of emotional wound that could leave a person numb. After hearing Willow's confession on April 14, Nina was left with a terrible pattern she could no longer deny. She had already lost Nell without ever truly having the chance to save her. That old grief had never fully healed. Now, standing before the wreckage of Willow's choices, Nina was forced to wonder if fate had placed her in the same tragedy all over again. Willow in this moment seemed frighteningly close to Nell in the way she operated through chaos, manipulation, and emotional destruction. For Nina, that comparison had to be unbearable. Nell had become a symbol of everything Nina had missed, everything she had failed to prevent, and everything she never got the chance to repair. Seeing those same shadows in Willow would feel like living through a nightmare twice. Still, this situation was not exactly the same, and that difference may be the most important part of Nina's emotional struggle. With Nell, Nina learned the truth too late. Death had already closed the door on any chance of healing, treatment, or redemption. But Willow is still here. Willow is still alive, still unraveling, still dangerous, but still reachable in some form. That painful fact gives Nina something she never had before, a chance to act. It may not be a hopeful chance or an easy one. It may require harsh decisions, painful public consequences, and the destruction of what little trust remains between mother and daughter, but it is still a chance. Nina may now believe that putting Willow in a psychiatric facility is not an act of betrayal, but the last act of love available to her. It would not be a gentle solution, it would be a desperate one. The tragedy of that choice is that Nina cannot make it from a place of calm compassion alone. She must first fight through overwhelming anger. Willow has not only committed terrible acts, but has also tried to force Nina into a twisted corner involving Charlotte and Brennan. That pressure makes everything uglier. Nina is being pushed to protect herself, protect others, and somehow protect Willow all at the same time. Her anger is natural, because Willow has made Nina a hostage to her crimes. Yet, if Nina lets anger rule her completely, she could lose the chance to do the one thing she believes may still save her daughter. So, Nina is now trapped between fury and responsibility, between outrage and maternal instinct. That conflict may define her every step from this point forward. There is also something heartbreakingly ironic in Willow's current position. While her actions have become more alarming and morally shocking, she is also the person caring for Drew. That detail adds another layer of unease to the story. If Willow is truly this unstable, then Drew is in the hands of someone who may already have tried to ruin or even kill him. And if Willow is exposed and sent to prison or a psychiatric institution, Drew will be left behind in a pathetic state, dependent and vulnerable. It is a grim situation all around. Willow's collapse does not only threaten her own future, it poisons every space around her, turning caregiving into a source of danger and making pity itself feel complicated. Even Drew, a man many may see as deeply flawed, becomes a tragic figure in such a setting. For Nina, the road ahead looks painfully clear and painfully impossible at the same time. She cannot pretend anymore that Willow is simply misunderstood. She cannot keep excusing behavior that now points toward real psychological collapse and criminal behavior. But she also cannot fully detach, because Willow is still her daughter. That is the agony of Nina's position. She is being forced to become the person who may expose Willow, restrain Willow, and possibly save Willow, all in one brutal move. There is no peaceful path through this. There is only damage control, grief, and the hope that intervention comes before total disaster. What makes this story so emotionally powerful is that it is not only about crime or scandal, it is about a mother seeing the truth too late, yet perhaps still in time. It is about Nina staring into the face of another family tragedy and refusing to look away, even when the truth is monstrous. Willow has become a terrifying reflection of pain left untreated, anger left unchecked, and desperation turned into poison. Nina now has to decide whether love means shielding Willow from consequences or forcing her to face them. In many ways, that may be the hardest choice Nina has ever had to make. And in this moment, it feels very possible that saving Willow will require breaking her first. Nina may be horrified by what Willow has become, but that does not mean her love will disappear. In many ways, that may be what makes this entire situation even more tragic. Nina can be angry, shocked, betrayed, and deeply frightened, yet still wake up every day hoping there is some way to pull her daughter back from the edge. A mother's love does not vanish simply because the truth becomes darker. Instead, it often becomes heavier. It becomes mixed with grief, fear, guilt, and helplessness. Nina may now see Willow as a danger to herself and to others, but she will probably never stop wishing that Willow could somehow find peace, healing, and a future that is not defined by madness and destruction. With every new secret Nina uncovers, her fear is likely to grow stronger, especially when it comes to the children. Once Nina understands how unstable Willow has become, it becomes impossible for her to feel safe when Willow is near any child. That fear is not cruel. It is not heartless. It is the natural reaction of someone who now sees just how far Willow's mind has fallen. If Willow was capable of using fear, manipulation, and violence as weapons, then Nina cannot simply trust that things will calm down on their own. She may begin to see danger in every moment, in every unexpected silence, in every situation where Willow is left alone with someone vulnerable. That kind of fear can consume a person, especially when it is tied to someone they still love. At the same time, Nina is trapped in the terrible problem involving Drew. Willow has not only created chaos around him, but has also placed Nina in a position where every step feels dangerous. The blackmail makes the situation even more painful because it strips away the last bit of normal mother and daughter trust that may have remained between them. Nina is no longer simply dealing with a daughter in crisis. She is dealing with someone who is actively using pressure, guilt, and threats to control her. That changes everything. It means Nina must think not only about how to save Willow, but also about how to protect herself and how to stop Willow from causing more damage. Drew's condition becomes part of a bigger nightmare, one where Nina feels cornered from every direction. If Willow is admitted to a psychiatric hospital, that may not bring quick relief. In fact, it may open the door to an even sadder chapter. Treatment is not always immediate, and recovery is not always clean or steady. If Willow's mental state has already deteriorated for a long time, then entering a facility may bring out even more pain before any healing begins. Nina may have to watch her daughter become more unstable before she becomes better. She may have to witness rage, denial, emotional collapse, and the shattering of whatever false control Willow believed she still had. That would be heartbreaking for any parent. Nina may feel as if she is losing Willow in slow motion, unable to stop the suffering, but unable to walk away from it either. And that is what makes this such a devastating mess. There is no clean answer, no comforting solution, and no choice that does not leave scars. Nina may come to believe that professional psychiatric treatment is the only real path left, not because it guarantees a miracle, but because doing nothing now feels far more dangerous. Love alone cannot fix what Willow has become. Family loyalty cannot erase criminal behavior. Silence cannot protect a mind that is already breaking apart. Nina may finally understand that the most loving thing she can do is also the hardest thing. Force Willow into a place where trained people can confront the illness and instability that the family can no longer manage on its own. At this point, Willow being placed in a psychiatric institution may feel almost unavoidable. Her actions no longer look like isolated mistakes or emotional reactions. They suggest a deeper collapse, something that has been building for a long time beneath the surface. The manipulation, the violence, the cruelty, and the blackmail all point to a woman who is not functioning in a healthy or rational way. That does not erase responsibility, but it does suggest that punishment alone may not address the real problem. If Willow has truly been falling deeper into psychological ruin for a long time, then psychiatric care may be necessary before anything else can even be decided.